Well, hello my friends, I'm so glad you stopped by. My name is Sonja if you're stopping by for the very first time. Today I wanted to share with you some very simple DIYs. These are Dollar Tree DIYs, and I am going to be using also very versatile Dollar Tree calendars that they have, and I'm going to be creating some signs and yeah, pretty much some signs using these calendars for Christmas. So without further ado, let's get started. For the first DIY, I'm going to use two different images. I'm going to use the fresh flowers one and the farm fresh Christmas trees. I really wanted to create a sign with a truck and some Christmas trees, so I thought combining those two would be great. So I have these I think they're like is it press board to MDF, I think it is what the piece of wood is called. I got a package of, I think, 4 from Dollarama for $4 a while back. So I had one on hand and I gave it a coat of white chalk paint. This is Off-White, the original from Annie Sloan. And while that was drying, I cut out what I wanted to use out of this one, which was just the truck itself. And then I also ended up cutting out a whole bunch of other stuff like the trees and the words from the other page. I was going to put all 3 trees originally. That was the plan, but then once I assembled it, I realized that the 3 trees weren't going to work. There wasn't enough room on the truck to use all 3. So I can definitely use this one tree on a different project. That's what I love about all of this stuff, is that, you know, if it doesn't work for one, it will for sure work for the other. And then I place them on top of the board just to see how it's going to look before I went ahead and glued everything down. And I did decide to trim some of the letters as well, some of the words I mean, because I wasn't loving the way they were cut right now. The farm fresh was okay, but the Christmas trees, I felt like it wasn't really working, that part. So I ended up trimming it as close to the letters as possible. As you can see, um, this was okay. It was still wasn't quite where I wanted to be, so I ended up separating them and just doing it that way. And that seemed to have gave me the look that I was going for. You can play around, do it as you like. And then I just used some school glue to glue it on the board. I thought this was the easiest, just to use this glue, because I will be going with Mod Podge over top of it just to seal it and make sure it's not flipping upwards anywhere. I just love the way this was turning out. As you guys know, if you're following along, I love anything with trucks, and this was perfect. And to make this truck look even more Christmassy, I took the little squares at the back of the calendar that shows you what kind of images are, and I just trimmed one to fit in onto the door of the truck, kind of like the, you know, when they have like the company's logos. That's the look that I was going for, and I absolutely love the way this turned out. I trimmed it where it needed to be trimmed, and then I took a pencil and I just drew some lines, because if you look at closely enough from the where the farm fresh is and around the letters, you could see that there are some like wood grains showing through, and so I wanted to add that to the board as well, and I love the way that turned out. For next DIY, I'm using the same page as I did the previous one. I had two of these calendars, and I had this piece of wood that I used for a different DIY that I no longer needed, and I just trimmed it to fit the paper and overlap maybe 1/2 inch on each side. And I just measured out two pieces like that, and I will be hot gluing them each to the paper. This is such a simple DIY, and I absolutely love using these calendars. I think they go such a long way. For $1.25, you pretty much have one, possibly two DIYs for every season if you're using the back little squares that are at the back. I was really lucky that I was able to find some here in Canada because last year I could not find any. I hope you are enjoying this video so far, and if you are, make sure you give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow. It helps my analytics and all that fun stuff that YouTube has for us. And if you are the first time here, I would love it if you considered hitting that subscribe button and a notification bell so you don't miss out any of my uploads. And I would also like to know which one was your favorite, so please leave me a comment. And if you're stopping by for the very first time and subscribing, or just stopping by, let me know down in the comments as well. I would love to get to know you better. Let me know you're new, and let me know what you are enjoying. So let's keep going. So like I mentioned before, once I had the piece of wood trimmed to size, I added some glue to the top of the page and glued the piece of wood on top, and then I did it and repeated the same thing on the bottom as well. And to finish the whole thing off, I ended up adding some rope to the top of it if I want to. Well, you're gonna have to hang it because it is a little bit flimsy, so it would not stand on its own. If you would want it to stand, you could put a piece of cardboard behind it to make it more sturdier, or even put maybe some wood on the back. I think the stir sticks, the paint stir sticks, would work really well on the back of it, and that would make it maybe stand up a little bit better than what it is now. And I just used some nautical rope that I had on hand and had glued it to the top for hanging. And I just love the way this turned out. So easy, so simple, and I think it's gonna look great. For the last DIY, I'm using this Let It Snow page and this shiplap sign, or I don't know how you would call this sign, but I picked that up. I think that one came from Dollarama. And I'm going to again cut this out because I want to fit it onto this sign. So I'm going to first cut out my letters so I fit this, see how they're gonna go on there, if I'm going to completely trim them or use them together or trim them apart. As you can see, together did not work, so I end up cutting each word out individually so that way they can go on to on their own. So I would love to know, do you guys like traditional Christmas decor? Are you more farmhouse, black and white, or do you go for more like vibrant colors? I actually have several Christmas trees. If you've been following along, you might know that already. And I like to have a different theme for every room. I do make most of my ornaments. However, I do have some of the ornaments that are special from travels, from birth of my children, and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of my ornaments are homemade, and I am actually going to be adding one more Christmas tree into my rec room because that is a new room. I used to have a daycare tree there, but it was very small, and I would like to get something a little bit bigger. And for that, I was thinking about making it like a candy cane elf theme type of tree, something fun, because it is where my kids hang out with their friends. So I thought it would be fun to have a fun tree. And my Disney tree is all the way up because, let's face it, I don't really trust a lot of the kids around my Disney tree because that one holds a lot of travel ornaments that, aren't necessarily very budget friendly. So I don't want to get them broken. So I'm going to be creating some of those elf candy cane DIYs coming up as well. If there's any type of ornament that you would like me to make, or help you figure out how to make it, please let me know down in the comments and we can figure things out together. But I would definitely like to know what your style of a Christmas tree is. Do you have more than one tree? Yeah, so I started off with the traditional tree and it just evolved year after year. And now I don't even want to tell you how many full-size Christmas trees I have. You're just going to have to find out when the home tour goes up on my home channel. So now that I have most of these cut out, I am just kind of playing around to see how I want them placed on here. And while I was playing around with all of this greenery and letters and stuff, I realized that I think I'm going to have to paint the board. I was thinking that just to leave it as is, I thought it would be nice to have a natural kind of wood pine color, but it really wasn't working for me. So once I had figured out exactly where I want everything to go, I do end up moving it off to a side, just right beside it, just so I know how I will put it back on there. And then I ended up painting this, and for painting it I did end up using some black chalked spray paint that I got at Michael's and just gave it a light light coat of paint. And then I let this fully dry before I added Mod Podge. So once it was dry, I added a layer of Mod Podge, and then I just placed everything the way I had it kind of set to a side. And then I finished it off with another layer of Mod Podge. I think the black paint made the little white trim around the words and the little greenery look like there was a bit of snow on it, and I just love the way this turned out. It is so different than some of the other pieces that I've made, but I love it, and I think this is a piece that you're going to be able to use even after Christmas. So what did you guys think? I think these turned out super cute. Like I said before, let me know down in the comments which one's your favorite. Hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And I want to thank you all for coming, new and old. I appreciate you all so much. So until next time, hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you all so much for watching. Bye!